to the back of me, there was a soldier. So I hollered, "Hey, buddy, have you got a match?" No answer. I turned and looked, and there was no head under the helmet.
You are about to embark upon the Great Crusade
to meet this mounting aggression.
And make no mistake about it, good will prevail.
I was born in Owatonna, Minnesota, and raised in 2 miles west of Hope on a farm. My dad could not afford to pay for my room and board in town. We lived out in the country, and I was going to quit high school, and I got a job helping a lady that had 8 room and boarders, and for my room and board. So my cousin Chick and I were walking around on Saturday morning and walked by the Roxy Theater, and Saturday matinee, Gene Autry, America's Favorite Cowboy, 10 cents. Between us, we couldn't come up with a penny. He says, "Jake, the National Guard is advertising they want to fill their ranks." This is when Hitler took the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia and annexed Austria. So the National Guard was preparing itself for a war in 1938. And he said, Chick says, "Let's go down to the armory and enlist." I says, "Sure, we're 15 years old. You have to be 18 years old." Chick said to me, "Jake, we'll go down there, and when they ask you how old you are, you look them right in the eye and say, 18 years, sir." He looked up, "What can I do for you, young men?" Wow, that was give us inspiration right there, being called young men when we were just 15-year-old boys. I said, "Sir, we'd like to join the National Guard." And I'm looking at him and thinking, 18. He said, "What year were you born?" Whoa, wait a minute. I was born in 1922. Take 3 away from that, that's 1919. 1919, sir. He says, "Sign right here." Then the Japanese hit Pearl Harbor. And the next thing I knew, the 135th Infantry Regiment was moved to Fort Dix, New Jersey for embarkation. So we went overseas and started off out in Armagh, North Ireland, got transferred into G3 of 5th Corps. I didn't even know what G3 was at that time. And 5th Corps, what in the world is that, man? I'm up from an infantry. I found out. Corps, there's 2 corps under every army. And a corps has 2 divisions in it. Man, I'm from an infantry regiment. You can't get any lower. And here I am up next to Army. And G3, there's 4 Gs in the Corps. G1 is personnel. G2, intelligence, where they go out and get intelligence on the enemy and they inform. G3, the plans and training. Plans. I became a sergeant out of the 30 people. Colonel Hill picked me to go with him to plan the invasion. We went to Portsmouth, and that's where General Eisenhower, all of his staff was. I didn't see him. We worked on the troop movements of our two divisions under us. We had the 1st Division and the 29th Division under us that landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day. That's pretty much how I got in on the invasion. On D-Day, I landed with troops from the 1st Division, the 16th Infantry Regiment. And when we got to the shore, we landed with water right up to our chins. We got off too far out. And I had been the first one on that LST. So I sat right next to the pilot, a Navy pilot. And when the ramp went down and they got into the water and out, I was the last one in line. Now I'll tell you that they had over 1 million mines in that Omaha Beach. 1 million. And there were other lines going in at the same time that we were going in. And once in a while, the spurt of water would shoot up in the air. Somebody stepped on a mine. I was more afraid of stepping on a mine than I was at the gunfire coming at us. And when we got up out of the water, I separated from the 16th Regiment, and I got behind a berm, drawing machine gun fire from two machine guns, these German machine guns. Those machine guns, 42 shot 1,200 rounds a minute. Twice as fast as any of ours. So they had me pinned down from both sides of the cliffs, and I got behind this little berm that was 6-8 inches tall, and that berm saved my life there. And while they were shooting right there in front of that berm, I dragged out a cigarette. I had a waterproof cigarette holder. Put it in my mouth. My matches were wet. I could see peripheral vision. To the back of me, there was a soldier. So I hollered, "Hey, buddy, have you got a match?" No answer. I turned and looked, and there was no head under the helmet. It probably saved my life to turn. It's like the soul of that guy said, "Get up and get out of here now." And by some miracle, those machine guns stopped to reload or to change barrels or something. I got up and ran toward the cliffs. And while I was running, they got started again, and they were firing at me, and I said, "God, what is happening?" I'm getting fired at. I can't see anybody to shoot back at. I made it to the cliff without a scratch. Yeah, at that time, they opened up the path up the cliff through this ravine that had been filled with barbed wire. Couldn't get up there, and they had Bangalore torpedoes came in, and they shoved those up there and blasted out that barbed wire. And that's when the Germans cleared out, because once you get behind them, you got them dead to rights. So to tell you the truth, I do not remember going up that cliff or up that ravine and everything. The next thing I remember, Madison Rich, Corporal Madison Rich, and I were digging our foxholes. It was 7 o'clock at night on D-Day. I had found a litter, brand new. It was just laying there. So I dug my foxhole a little bit longer and put that litter in the bottom. I was going to sleep on that, avoid the wet sand. And 7:15 at night, someone hollered from the command post, "Sergeant Larson, Colonel Hill wants to see you immediately." So I went in, reported to Colonel Hill, and he says, "Sergeant," he says, I just got word from 1st Army. They want me to keep G3 open 24 hours a day. You are going to run the night shift." I said, "Starting right now?" He said, "Starting right now." So I went back. It still wasn't 7:30, so I went back, told Madison Rich. I said, "Hey, Matty, you can sleep in my foxhole tonight. I got that litter in there." And he says, "Jake, I got my fart sack already here." So he laid his M1 Garand rifle on my litter, and he went to sleep, I went to work. And at midnight, a German reconnaissance plane came over and started taking pictures. They had these parachute, handkerchief-size parachutes with magnesium flares in there that lighten up the sky like better than daylight. And our anti-aircraft then started shooting up at them. And after a while, and I don't remember a thing until somebody came to relieve me at 7:30 in the morning. At 7:30, they said, "You're off, Jake." So I went to my foxhole, and here Madison Rich was getting up from his, and he reached down and picked up his rifle off of my litter, and it broke in two. A piece of shrapnel from our gun shooting at that reconnaissance plane, a piece of our shrapnel came down and hit that rifle and broke that rifle in two. There is a God. There is a God.